Alright, so I just got back from watching The Housemaid, the latest mystery thriller that is clearly based off of a book by the same name. I don't know that for sure, but I could just tell by watching this movie that this is definitely one of those book talk movies. And I don't really know what book talk is. All I know is that it's a certain sort of subgenre of books that a lot of people on TikTok have gravitated towards. It's kind of trashy romance type of stuff where like it's not really good. It's more guilty pleasure sort of stuff, but it's very popular, so obviously they're going to make a lot of movies about it. And I don't know if The Housemaid is an adaptation of a book talk book, but it seems like it is, just by the way it's directed and the plot and all that stuff. So the plot of The Housemaid is Sydney Sweeney plays a young woman who gets hired as a housemaid for a very rich, well-to-do family in suburban New York. And but not all is as it seems. The wife of this family is a little crazy, and there's like, hidden secrets, like why is she so crazy and why does she have it out for Sydney Sweeney and all this stuff. So I'm just gonna come out and say it, this movie is not very good. I was entertained by it immensely, but it is not a very good movie. And I was, even though I just said I was entertained, I was only entertained for the last quarter of it because of how bonkers crazy it goes. There was another movie that went bonkers crazy near the end called Bugonia, but I think that whole movie is good. This movie only gets good when it gets bonkers crazy, and even then, it's not good because it's bonkers crazy, it's just finally entertaining. The first three quarters, I would say, maybe, 2.5 quarters, I was not enjoying this movie at all because there's a twist in this movie because it is a thriller mystery, so a good mystery has a twist. But the problem with this movie and the book as well, if it is a book, is the twist is so obvious. It's one of the most obvious twists that you could have, if you can predict this twist, it doesn't mean you're smart. Anybody with a functioning brain who's paying attention to anything happening in this movie can see this twist coming from a mile away. So you're waiting for the twist to be revealed. At least I was. I was waiting and I was waiting. And unfortunately, the movie's not entertaining leading up to this twist. It's just kind of boring, same old, same old. And it's also hard to root for any of the characters. You'd think our main character, Sydney Sweeney, I think her name's Millie. I forget exactly her name. You'd think she'd be easy to root for because she's in this awful situation, but she makes choices and decisions that you're like, well, I can't quite stand behind this. So you're not 100%, I can't quite get behind you 100% and root for you. You kind of have some of this stuff coming. So, it's kind of hard to find some sort of moral standing in this movie to latch on to. But this movie is saved, at least in entertainment value, when the twist finally happens and it just goes bonkers, crazy, insane. And I was having a blast at that point. Because I'm not that I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but it was just at least crazy and more interesting than what was happening before the twist. So yeah, not really a recommendation from me. I will say, some good stuff. The acting on a whole is pretty good. Amanda Seyfried, I think that's how you say her last name, Seyfried, or Seyfried. I don't know how you say her last name. But the girl from Mean Girls and Mamma Mia and Les Miserables and stuff, she's really good in this movie. She plays the crazy wife, and she knows exactly what kind of movie she's in, and she gives it 110%, and she is phenomenal. By far the best part of the movie. And then her husband, who's played by Brandon Sklenar, I believe that's how you say his last name, he's also really good throughout the whole movie. He's really good as well. Sydney Sweeney is okay. I don't know if she's trying to be understated or if she just doesn't really care about this movie, so she's kind of phoning it in. This kind of how she was with Madam Web last year. She kind of phoned it in there too because clearly she did not care about this movie, and I think the case might be the same here. I've heard that Sydney Sweeney can act. I just haven't seen any of the stuff that she can act in. So you know, I guess I've just seen the two movies that she didn't care about. But she's not awful, but she's not as good as Amanda Seyfried or Brandon Glenmore. So there's that. But yeah, the acting is decent. Oh, there's a bunch of needle drops, like music in this movie that is just so bad. Like, you know, it starts playing some, you know, some hippie pop song or whatever that just does not fit with the tone of this movie at all. But hey, it's catering to its audience, I guess. So, you know, there it is. So yeah, not a recommendation from me. I guess if you like this sort of thing, maybe you'll like it, but I don't like this sort of thing, so I didn't like it. I was entertained at the end, but it's not worth the price of admission just for a bonkers ending. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on The Housemaid.